Sipho, very good afternoon to you. Good to speak to you. So, Jacob Zuma says the NPA will possibly never be ready to prosecute him and that you're dragging your feet and violating his rights. Is that right?
No, that's not correct. In fact, the matter has not been postponed. You would remember when the matter was adjourned in November last year, all parties by consent agreed because there was a Thales matter which was challenging the charges on racketeering, and they lost that matter. But we had to wait for that process. Unfortunately, they are not appealing that decision, which kicked out that appeal. And all the three parties agreed that tomorrow we are all in court. We are going to deal with pre-trial management issues. But tomorrow also we must agree on a date for a trial. So tomorrow was never set for a trial date. In fact, even when the defense comes, they know that tomorrow, as we all agreed, that we'll only agree on a court date tomorrow, and that will be determined by the presiding officer.
Where does the date of the 17th of May then come from, as mentioned by the Jacob Zuma Foundation in the statement? Was that part of the discussions that have been going on?
What happened subsequent to Thales not winning the case, the NPA and Thales looked at the common date between them and the nearest date available for the trial to take place. So those two parties at least have got a date they agree on. I'm not aware of any date that has been put forth by Mr. Zuma's defense attorneys. Probably they will bring that date tomorrow. The date of 17 May is the nearest or earliest available date between Thales and the National Prosecuting Authority in order to start with the trial in earnest.
Would the NPA be able to take this case against Jacob Zuma and Thales to trial next week if that were the date?
The NPA is ready. The NPA was waiting for the Thales leg of it. So we are ready. That's why the nearest date was made between us and the lawyer. So we can take on the matter as soon as a date is available. From our side, it's all systems go.
Do you worry then, Sipho Ngwema, as the National Prosecuting Authority, that you are at this point being deliberately dragged out to fight this case out in the streets and the court of public opinion?
That's what we are trying to avoid. And I think what was bizarre about the statement is that it flies in the face of the agreement that their own lawyers had with the other teams, ourselves and the other team. But we know that there is an edge to try this case in the court of public opinion. We are going to resist that. Our court is before the judge in Maritzburg, but we want to make sure that people do not send out disinformation. It seems as though there's been gross mischievousness from someone who penned that statement, because what they wrote is false, and they know that their own team did not get into those agreements without knowing. They know exactly the court processes, and that's what we agreed upon. And tomorrow the matter is on the road. It has not been postponed yet. It's only the presiding officer that can do that. So we are ready to present our court before a presiding officer at the court, High Court in Pietermaritzburg.
So, Sipho, you're saying that whoever wrote that statement issued by the Jacob Zuma Foundation is spreading disinformation. Legally, is there anything you can do about it, or are they free to do about as they please, to go about as they please?
No, there's very little we can do about it. They will discuss that, of course, with their own legal team. It's quite embarrassing, though. But the reality is that we know, given the fact that some people would want to politicize this, this is a pure criminal case that is going to be heard in the Pietermaritzburg court, and that's where the arguments are going to take place, nothing outside that court. So, yes, we are going to resist any temptation to drag us outside the court, but what is important is that let's tell the truth. Tomorrow, we are going to get a date of the trial. Tomorrow was never set. It was a provisional date. It was never set for trial. So people must not misinform the public.
And final question, the pre-trial issues that have to be addressed tomorrow. One is the issue of the trial start date. Is there anything else that the NPA will want discussed tomorrow?
From our side, it's fine. We are fine. It depends what the parties want. We have given all the information. There were further particulars that was needed by tellers. We have supplied them with that information. So from our side, we are ready. So we'll see what happens in court tomorrow. Of course, you must remember as well that there's an issue of the court role. That is the court's baby. The court will decide, looking at its role, when is the most appropriate date for a trial to start. But as I said earlier, the NPA is more than ready now to start the trial.
Sipho Ngwema, spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority, good to speak to you.